Hello, right, an update on where we are now with the boat. As you see, everything at the front is now in, steering wheel, all the instruments are in, the switches are in, everything at the back of the boat is in, it's all wired up and been tested. Couple of faults, one of the solenoids on the power trim tilt has, it clicks but it doesn't actually connect anything, so that's going to be replaced. That's about £15, so that's not a lot of money. The temperature gauge, well, that was in the walk round. The temperature gauge was in the dash before. I've wired it up according to diagrams that I found, and I've come to the conclusion that nothing's doing with it. So I think the gauge might be knackered, but I also think that it's a switch on the motor, not a sensor. It says sensor, but really it's a switch for a warning horn. So anyway, I've yet to suss that out. I've got a warning horn, but it's a bit manky, a bit damaged, come apart in my hands when I was taking it out, so I get another one. It's only a 12-volt buzzer of sorts. Yeah, everything's at the back. I've test run the engine yesterday and it runs okay after a bit of a muck about. I mean, there was petrol pissing out of all the pipes where it shouldn't be. There was water not coming out where it should have been. So all is not right. So at the moment I'm going to take the lower unit off. This jacking plate, all the screws were seized in. I've removed two and cleaned them up and put them back. So far they're completely seized because they're stainless screws in an aluminium jack plate and they don't mix. But anyway, I managed to get them out with a combination of a huge breaker bar down here and a compressed air nut runner. That got the bastard out, and cleaned them up, cleaned out the holes, put some marine grease on, put them back together, doing it one at a time. Once I've got that out, I can move the outboard up, because I don't know if you can see here, but this isn't quite how it should be, so I need to sort that out as well. But anyway, I've taken the steering things off. They were corroded in as well, stainless in aluminium, same story all over. I mean, if you put stainless into aluminium, you've got a battery, because they're potential difference wise, they're quite wide apart. So it's not a good combination. You're going to get galvanic corrosion, particularly in the presence of seawater. So, you know, when you're going to use stainless, which you think corrode, now it doesn't corrode, and you think aluminium doesn't really corrode, be aware of the fact that in the presence of each other they do, because aluminium is very reactive. So anyway, once I've got all those out, freed them off, I'm going to move the motor up to clear the transom, and then take the gearbox off to check the state of the impeller. That'll be the next job, just to make sure the gearbox is 100%. The engine runs just fine. It's a bit poppy because it just tends to backfire, but I don't think that's that unusual with these. It needs proper running in, really, because it's only just been rebored and had new pistons in. I don't think it's had a lot of use, but it does run just fine. So, you know, after a bit of messing about, I just need to change all the pipes and things. I'm not happy with these pipes that come to the engine. They all look a bit of a, I don't know, bit of a dog's. So I'm going to have a little look around and see on the internet, see what I should do, because that was way too big for that connector there. It was really pinched in. It was pissing petrol out. And it was pissing out in the inside of the boat. It filled the bottom of my nice new painty bit with petrol, so I wasn't particularly pleased about that. But anyway, you know, minor snags, but it's, you know, they're all little setbacks, and it comes after a while. You get a bit kind of fed up with it, but you know, go to bed next day, come back and have another go, and it's, you know, they're all challenges to be overcome. It's part of the story with a project like this. But anyway, I can't put the carpets in. That's why I'm concentrating on the engine. I can't put the carpets in just yet, because looking up at that sky, it's all grey, isn't it? It's horrible grey, and it's threatening rain all the time. It was raining mostly yesterday, so, you know, it's got muck inside the boat. You know, it's a shame, because you get all spotlessly clean and really nice, and the next thing you know, you're treading muck in. But anyway, it's going to get dirtier than that when it's being used, so better get used to it. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I'll do another update when the engine's running. I'm not particularly happy with some of the wiring on here. I'm not quite sure what's been going on, but that is part of the ignition. And then on here you've got sort of an aftermarket bit of black wire which is sort of doing the same job. So I imagine someone's found some problems in the existing loom. So what I'm going to do is I'll check that out a bit at a time, bet it out, perhaps put new terminations on the end, but I'll sort the loom out properly. You know, it's a funny thing that almost every time that people do their own work, when it comes to wiring, it looks an absolute dogs, you know, and it's so important to get it right. But yeah, anyway, so just getting on, don't get me started on that. But anyway, when I've done this, I'll have tidied up the wiring, got it terminated correctly, run it properly, make it look like it's going to stay put and not, you know, miss out on doing its job. But I'm quite pleased that the engine ran, you know, successfully, because I was worried about that. I mean, we only had a little short run before, and I suspected that there was something that he didn't want me to see, like, you know, I think it was like the petrol pipes were leaking and the fact that he didn't want to run it without the water going through because it wasn't, or something like that anyway. But it doesn't matter because I'm going to sort everything out anyway. I'm not just going to leave it and take someone else's word for it. So I think this is 20 odd years old. I'm going to make sure that it's done, that it's sorted out and it's correct and functioning properly, because I can't stick driving around in a car that's got things wrong with it, or even dirty, and I'm the same with boats. So anyway, well, it will be the same with the boat because it's my first one really. But anyway, next video will be hopefully seeing what sort of thing we find in the gearbox.